At 2:47 p.m. local time, a $63 million U.S. Air Force F-16 from the elite 421st Fighter Squadron was protecting American warships off Yemen's coast when Houthi missiles locked on. The pilot had just 18 seconds to survive. What happened next shocked military analysts worldwide and triggered the largest U.S. retaliation strike in months. It's 5:23 p.m. local time. An F-16 from the 421st Fighter Squadron is flying top cover for U.S. warships steaming along Yemen's coast. The patrol's been quiet, routine, but that's about to change in seconds. What the pilot doesn't know? A Houthi SA-6 battery near Houthi has him locked. They fire. The missile screams toward him at 2.8 times the speed of sound. Maximum range? 23 kilometers. The pilot has seconds, maybe 18. That's it. But here's the thing. The F-16 isn't defenseless. It's got countermeasures that'll turn this killer into scrap metal. First line of defense? The APG-83 radar mounted on the nose. It picks up the SA-6 at 42 kilometers out. The pilot reacts instantly. Steep dive, 30,000 feet down to 15,000 feet in seconds. Now, here's why that matters. The SA-6 isn't fire and forget. It's semi-active. That means Houthi ground radars have to paint the target with energy. They create what's called a fire control solution. The missile rides that beam toward the F-16. Then in the final seconds, its internal seeker activates, pings for the target, locks on. The pilots dive. It's meant to break that fire control link, mess up the geometry, force the missile to lose track, and for a moment, it works. But then the radar picks up more contacts, more SA-6s inbound. The pilot's got 18 seconds to react to this barrage. He throws the jet into hard turns, evasive maneuvers. But here's the problem. Those turns create chaos for his own radar too. The APG-83 can track 20 targets at once. Impressive. But when the jet's pulling hard angles, effectiveness drops by 47% at 60 degrees off-bore sight. Translation? The F-16's partially blind to some of those incoming missiles. That's where the second system kicks in. Look at the wing pylons. See those pods? Those are Pylon Integrated Dispenser Systems, PIDS. Each one weighs 19 kilograms. They reduce the jet's loadout by 3%. But that trade-off? Totally worth it. Here's what they do. 6 Henst AR-60V2 ultraviolet sensors wrap around each pod. 360-degree spherical coverage. They detect missile launches up to 10 kilometers away. When the PIDs spot those SA-6s, they deploy countermeasures. 12 MJU 50B flares, 24 RR-180 chaff bundles, creates a half-kilometer decoy cloud of infrared and radio frequency signatures. But it's not enough. The missiles keep coming. Lock's still solid. The pilot's down to one option. His last card. Mounted on the belly of the jet is an ALQ-184 jamming pod. This thing jams threats across 2 to 20 gigahertz. The SA-6's fire control radar? 6 to 8 gigahertz. Child's play. The pilot activates it. Digital RF memory technology floods the enemy radar, breaks the connection between the missiles and their ground site. Accuracy drops by 70%. The remaining SA-6s go ballistic. Dumb. They fly harmlessly past the F-16. The pilot's safe. But the Houthis, they're not done. Not even close. 44 minutes later, 6:07 p.m. local time. A U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drone from Shabali Airfield in Djibouti is flying a routine recon mission. It's monitoring Houthi supply convoys about 50 miles northeast of Houthi. The same Houthi gunners who missed the F-16, they're frustrated, so they try again. The Reaper's less advanced than the F-16, but it's got a Pandora missile warning system. It detects another SA-6 launch. Within 8 seconds, the drone's ALE-47 dispenser starts pumping countermeasures. The Reaper climbs above 15,000 feet, keeps the missiles out of its 30-degree blind spots directly below. As it climbs, the countermeasure system launches 8 flares in 4 seconds, creates a 300-square-meter chaff cloud, confuses the incoming missiles. But here's the catch. The system's not unlimited. Max load? 60 MJU 60B flares. 120 RR-180 chaff bundles, good for 12 engagements per sortie. Once it burns through 75%, mission abort, head home. The drone's got another trick though, the ALR-69 radar warning receiver. Monitors frequencies from 0.5 to 20 gigahertz, detects SA-6 radar emissions at 200 kilometers. pinpoints them within 1 degree of accuracy. With this enabled, the Reaper responds to launches within 2 seconds, fast enough to deploy countermeasures, fast enough to avoid a direct hit, but it doesn't escape clean. After landing back at base, maintainers find damage. Several of the SA-6's 12,000 steel pellets punched through the right wing. Lucky break, though. The drone flies again shortly after. Now, this might seem routine, just another day in the Red Sea, but it's not. This is the first time the Houthis have shot at a manned U.S. aircraft in this conflict. First time. That changes everything. The U.S. response? It's about to set a new precedent. Central Command gets the news. So does the White House. They're shocked. A brazen daylight attack on U.S. forces. President Trump decides immediately. Nothing less than a devastating response will do. Within 8 hours, the guided missile destroyer USS Spruance gets orders. Steam closer to the Yemen coast. Once in position, the crew receives encrypted launch orders from Central Command. Normally, they'd use Tomahawk missiles for this, but the Navy goes with something different, something creative. Every destroyer carries a mixed loadout: Tomahawks, Eswamutsu Esu, ESSMS, anti-submarine rockets, SM-6 missiles. BMD-capable ships also carry SM-3s. Why the mix? So one ship can handle multiple threat types, offensive and defensive. But why the SM-6 for this strike? That's interesting. The SM-6 is one of the Navy's most advanced air defense missiles, second only to the SM-3. Destroyers save these for the most dangerous threats. It delivers a 64-kilogram warhead at 3.5 times the speed of sound, designed for air defense. But in recent years, the Navy's repurposed it for ground strikes too. The Tomahawk has longer range, around 1,500 kilometers, but the SM-6 is much faster, harder to shoot down. It's a critical stopgap until the Naval Strike Missile comes fully online, so the Navy modified it for surface mode. But here's the thing. Despite having this capability for years, they've never publicly fired one this way. Until now. Why use it here? The target's moving. Satellite imagery shows the SA-6 launcher and its IS-91 radar still in Houthi. But that launcher can move at 34 miles per hour. Could be hundreds of miles away by the time the strike order comes through. Time's critical. Every second counts. After getting the firing order, the Spruance's crew makes best speed to the launch basket in the southern Red Sea. Combat watchstanders have less than 30 minutes. They've got to create, route, and approve a firing plan. You see, missiles don't just fly straight. That'd be too easy to shoot down. The crew programs dozens of waypoints, gets the missile to the first pre-planned position. Then the classified mission library takes over, sends it screaming toward the target. 3:45 a.m. local time. Flash of light. 2 SM-6s roar out of the VLS cells, several hundred miles to go. Takes about 6 minutes. The Houthis have built up a robust air defense network. Doesn't matter. The SM-6 glides effortlessly through, smashes into the SA-6 launcher. Signals intercepts confirm the kill. 8 Houthi operators eliminated, but the US isn't finished, not by a long shot. From 2014 to 2015, the Houthis captured 12 to 15 SA-6 launchers from the Yemeni government. Over the past decade, Iran's helped them upgrade. Better radars, modern seekers. Now they've got an extensive stockpile, and they've shown they'll use it against US aircraft. That can't stand. After the February 20th strike that took out the individual launcher, the Navy decides it's time. Time to send a permanent reminder. Don't attack US aircraft. 6 p.m. local time. First wave of F-18 takes off from the Harry S. Truman, and they're carrying something special. Typical strike mission, 2,000 0.0-pound JDAM, maybe a bunker buster, but the Navy goes all out on this one. These F-18s are armed with AGM-154 Joint Standoff Weapons, JSOWs long-range air-to-surface weapons, range of 117 to 130 kilometers if launched from high altitude. Warhead carries either 145 bomblets or 192 pounds of explosives. GPS guided. Precision. This is the long arm of justice in the region, and that's exactly what it becomes that night. Between 6 p.m. and 11:30 p.m., wave after wave of F-18s hit storage bunkers near Sana'a. And if that's not enough, the guided missile destroyer USS gravely fires 6 Tomahawk missiles at the smoldering rubble. Final exclamation point. All told, the U.S. destroys 14 Quahair M2 ballistic missiles, 3 more SA-6 launchers, 23 various anti-ship cruise missiles. The Houthis' ability to launch attacks? Severely degraded. But this operation hasn't destroyed their entire arsenal. That'll be left for another day's fight. Do you think the US could be doing more to destroy the Houthis' ability to wage war? Let me know in the comments.